Tonight, with 1 week to go until Christmas, we're tracking several opportunities to give back.
It's so heartwarming to see.
And obviously, gifts isn't the only thing about holidays, but it does help bring people together and really have a good time.
From celebrity athletes to your next door neighbor, we'll show you how people in Toronto are joining forces just ahead of the holidays.
All of a sudden, a big loud crash. It sounded like the building was coming down.
Plus, neighbors shaken from their bed this morning. The latest on a multi-car collision involving police and a stolen vehicle.
I was taken aback. I mean, literally every second can count.
And dangerous waiting. The 4-minute 911 call this man says should never have happened as we continue our in-depth coverage of emergency services. Why, despite promises, average wait times have actually gotten worse. Good evening. Thanks for starting your week with us. I'm Chris Glover. I don't mean to stress anybody out, but in exactly 1 week's time, it is Christmas Day, and the holidays are a lot for a lot of people, especially those who are dealing with poverty and food insecurity. So tonight, there were several initiatives across the region aimed at helping people who need it. Anam Khan is up first with a toy sorting campaign at a community center in East York.
Ever see Santa's workshop? Here's a peek at one in Toronto. Just as one would imagine, toys, lots and lots of them. Also in abundance, Santa's helpers, eager to help.
I am very busy. We're all very busy. It's a very busy place.
These volunteers have a large task at hand, to sort thousands of toys on their way to a child whose family may not have been able to afford a Christmas present.
That's such like a happy memory for a child, and some people won't get to experience that, but like with this, some people will.
The toys sorted tonight at Community 55 were donated from community members, schools, and businesses. Collected as part of the Share a Christmas program, now in its 42nd year, about 100 volunteers came tonight to sort them by age group.
This is 0 to 1. You have the little mini toys over here, and that's the 2 to 4. It's the avalanche.
This year, 1,000 families will get Christmas presents, like this one for a 10-year-old boy.
So we're just going to go around and pick something that we think.
Minecraft.
Absolutely.
It's Minecraft Lego,
Absolutely.
you guys.
And then we put it in, there we go, that's it. And then that's pretty much it.
Reza Koshdel says while the program grows every year, so does the demand. Last year, the program gave out 5,000 presents and $200,000 in gift cards. This year, the demand has risen 30%. The executive director of the community center says with the rising cost of living, the campaign is even more important. He says he remembers how he felt as a child in Scarborough receiving gifts through initiatives like it.
It made me felt like I was heard. It made me feel like people were acknowledging my struggles and that I mattered.
Now he's able to do it for others, and help is pouring in. And while the sorting and wrapping continues through the week, beginning tomorrow, thousands of children will start getting the Christmas presents in their hands. Anam Khan, CBC News, Toronto.
Next over to Vaughan, where Leafs right-winger Mitch Marner is getting into the Christmas spirit. On hand tonight to kick off the 3rd annual Give a Gift holiday campaign. That's dedicated to bringing some holiday cheer to those in need. And the Marner Assist Foundation was created by the Leaf and his family, and it's collecting new unwrapped toys, books, and gift cards for some children and teens.
It's always important to me, especially holiday season, to try to get around your loved ones, your family, enjoy that moment. I mean, obviously gifts isn't the only thing about holidays, but it does help bring people together and really have a good time. And we're very fortunate to have a lot of people donate a lot of great gifts for families in need.
So if you'd like to donate to the Give a Gift campaign, you can go to the Marner Assist Foundation's website or hit up a designated drop-off location. Turning now to a multi-car collision that happened outside a West End apartment building early this morning. The dramatic scene started with police trying to stop a suspected car thief and ended with an injured officer, not to mention quite a mess. Tyler Cheese walks us through what happened.
This is the aftermath of an early morning car crash on Ava Road, just west of Highway 427.
All of a sudden, a big loud crash. It sounded like the building was coming down.
Residents of the building where it happened say they were woken up by the noise. They've since been told the crash involved police and a stolen vehicle.
I really ran out. I was like, oh my gosh, what happened? Like, it was shocking. You know, it was really, really loud. I guess living so high up, yeah, it was really loud. It was a lot. And the other vehicles were damaged really badly too.
So this crash happened here around 5:30 this morning. Police say officers with the Provincial Carjacking Task Force actually identified this vehicle and attempted to box it in so that the driver couldn't get away.
And at that time, the driver rolled the car in an attempt to get away.
Police say this BMW was identified as a stolen vehicle. 2 people were inside the car at the time of the crash.
Officers pulled the 2 occupants to safety and subsequently arrested them. An officer and both occupants received non-life-threatening injuries and were brought to the hospital. There were a total of 4 cars damaged, but no other members of the public were injured.
Local residents say they're worried about a rise in crime in the area.
It's a good area normally, you know. It's gone downhill the last few years. I don't know what's going on. A lot of stolen vehicles, a lot of stuff with stolen cars and stuff like that going on, a lot of stuff.
Police say the Provincial Carjacking Task Force will continue its investigation. Tyler Cheese, CBC News, Toronto.
All right, get ready. A bit of a wintry mix falling across our region tonight. It is -1 right now with this evening's rain switching through the overnight to snow. Victor Paolo is tracking our weather forecast. Victor, quite a wintry blast to wake up to tomorrow.
Chris, hope you're having yourself a perfect start to your Monday. Couple things to note when it comes to the weather here in the GTA. It is going to be snowing when it comes to overnight tonight into tomorrow morning, as you can see behind me. And that snowfall amount will be anywhere between 3 to 8 centimeters, and that's going to be followed up by a cold morning. It's going to be feeling closer to -11. When we're all behind all that snow and that cold weather, well, we got the return of above seasonal temperatures. What do I mean by above seasonal? Well, the average high is 0.5 and the average low is -7.2. So anything above that will be considered above seasonal. Now, here's what we're expecting when it comes to the overnight tonight. Here's that snow that's supposed to be around 3 to 8 centimeters that passes through. As you do get towards your Tuesday into Wednesday, things start to clear up, and we're back to our consistent theme of sun and cloud here in the GTA. Now, tomorrow morning when my little Emmy and your little ones are getting ready, it's going to be blowing snow, -3, feeling like -11. And a quick look at our 3-day forecast, we can note that once we're through that bit of flurries on Tuesday, it's the return of sun and cloud on Wednesday and Thursday. Stay tuned to Chris and I for the rest of your 3- and 7-day forecast.
All right, thank you, Victor. Now to an historic investment in housing in Mississauga. The mayor announcing today more than $100 million is coming from the federal government, expected to help construct 3,000 homes. For the full story, let's turn now to Greg Ross.
We're all delighted to be here with
$112.9 million. That's the amount the city of Mississauga is receiving through the federal government's Housing Accelerator Fund over the next 3 years.
It single-handedly represents the largest investment any level of government has ever made in housing in Mississauga.
Mississauga Mayor Bonnie Crombie says that money will lead to the construction of 3,000 more homes.
In addition to the 3,000 units this funding will help us fast track, we expect to approve permits for more than 13,000 new homes by 2026. The money is going to a variety of initiatives, but generally to support infrastructure needed for growth and, of course, helping us unlock growth and development around transit stations.
She says City Council is looking at creative ways of making sure they hit their targets.
We need to be bold and innovative. One way our council is doing this is by officially approving fourplexes citywide. This isn't just a commitment to building fourplexes. We're moving full steam ahead.
Earlier this month, City Council approved a motion that would allow the construction of fourplexes on low-rise residential lots. But that wasn't the only part of the city's proposal that caught the attention of the federal government.
The city of Mississauga put forward 8 great initiatives that will help, alleviate barriers to construction of housing.
Mississauga is one of a dozen cities across the country so far to be selected by the Housing Accelerator Fund.
Through the Housing Accelerator Fund, our government is working together with municipalities towards our shared goal of fast-tracking the creation of at least 100,000 homes from coast to coast to coast over the next 3 years.
Mississauga will receive 25% of the funding up front, with the remainder to be paid in annual installments over the next 3 years. Greg Ross, CBC News, Toronto.
Now to a story we haven't had to cover in months. Respiratory viruses filling up hospital emergency rooms. But health officials say right now, COVID is not responsible for the majority of the cases. Lorenda Redicop has more.
'Tis the season for packed emergency rooms.
There is still COVID around, but everything else is back. All the colds, the flus, the other viruses that contribute to cough and cold season, they're back, and they're back with a vengeance, I would say.
He says UHN's numbers for flu and RSV doubled in the past 2 weeks.
I think we're only expecting numbers to go up. The holiday season, again, appropriately is a time when people can get together, and when people mingle, viruses mingle as well.
But not everyone needs to head to the hospital. The advice is to judge the severity of respiratory symptoms.
First, severe shortness of breath. And specifically, we're talking about if simple things that are day-to-day, easy, like getting dressed, going to the washroom, if that's difficult because of your breathing, consider going to the emergency department.
He says the other big ones are being unable to stay hydrated or if someone is losing consciousness. On Friday, Toronto Public Health sent a notice to all parents about respiratory viruses, with reminders on how to stay healthy, including getting vaccinated, wearing a mask, and staying home if you're sick.
If you want to stock up on COVID rapid tests, you can pick them up at any Toronto Public Library branch. And some good news when it comes to COVID. One infectious diseases doctor says now many people are experiencing milder symptoms given increased immunity.
The people that we're seeing that are occasionally getting very sick from COVID, they tend to be quite elderly. We're talking about in their 90s or with very, very profound immune suppression, such as somebody with a transplant or a blood cancer.
As for the other respiratory illnesses circulating, he expects those to drop in January.
Certainly we saw that with COVID 3 years in a row, where the COVID numbers would drop like a stone in the middle of January. So it's one of those things, absolutely kids are going back to school and you see some respiratory transmission, but the bulk of it is often occurring with people getting together during the holidays.
To prevent spread, Toronto Public Health says you should wash your hands, cover your mouth if you cough or sneeze, and wear a mask for 10 days after you're sick. Lorenda Redekop, CBC News.
Welcome back. Toronto police are searching for a man suspected of stabbing another person in the back multiple times in Scarborough. Here's a look at the suspect. Police say the incident happened back on October 25th near Kingston and Galloway Roads. They say the suspect approached the victim from behind, stabbed him several times, and then fled the area. Thankfully, the victim survived, but this man is still at large. Now to a discouraging update from our continued coverage of 911 wait times in the city. Over the past 2 years, CBC Toronto has profiled multiple stories of people waiting on hold during some of the scariest moments of their lives. Despite local authorities responding to those stories with promises to improve the situation, tonight new data shows it has gotten worse. Angelina King has more on our continuing coverage.
I was alarmed.
A few months ago, Mike McDermott was driving with his family on the 401 when he saw smoke.
We pulled up to that smoke and there was a car that had burst into flames.
So he called 911. No one answered. He was put on hold. More than 4 minutes went by, nothing.
I was taken aback. It's 911. It's an emergency service. Literally every second can count.
He posted this photo showing after nearly 4.5 minutes, he hung up, assuming someone else got through and that he was clogging the line. On the day he called 911, the average wait on hold was 2 minutes and 44 seconds. The longest wait, more than 10 minutes.
That's the thing I sort of expect to be the most instantaneous. It's an indication of how well, I guess, we're all being looked after.
We've been investigating 911 wait times for a while now. Nearly 2 years ago, we first revealed that it was actually quite common for people to be waiting on hold and that staff shortages and burnout were part of the problem. 5 months after that, the city's Auditor General released recommendations aiming at reducing wait times. But new data obtained by CBC shows things aren't any better. They're actually getting worse. In 2021, between June and September, the average hold time was 24 seconds. It got worse the next year and increased even higher to 1 minute and 8 seconds in that time frame this year. A similar story for the average longest hold times, increasing to 6 minutes and 12 seconds this year. And all of last year, there were 55 days when the average wait time was between 1 and 2 minutes. That nearly doubled to 100 days in just the first 9 months of this year.
That's really frustrating.
Stroke neurologist and researcher Dr. Rick Swartz says time can make all the difference in all emergencies, including strokes.
we can make a measurable increase in their odds of a good outcome.
What we need.
During the mayoral campaign, Olivia Chow promised to fix 911 wait times. When asked now about why they've gotten worse and what's being done,
So one key thing that I did was to expand the Toronto Community Crisis Service, which will divert calls from 911. And when that happens all across the city, then you will see the 911 call wait time to drop.
Toronto Police didn't answer a list of specific questions we asked, instead pointing to reports that include how the service is responding to the Auditor General's recommendations. One thing the service has done is hired a third party to look at new minimum staffing requirements. So, what should you do if you're on hold and someone needs emergency medical help?
Stay calm and stay with it, I think.
Dr. Swartz says, as counterintuitive as it might seem, don't hang up and drive to the hospital yourself. It could end up costing quite a bit more time.
Because you can't drive as fast as the ambulance, and the system may not be geared up and ready to go because we don't get pre-notification and it has to be triaged.
But he says ideally, those longer wait times are eliminated altogether. Angelina King, CBC News, Toronto.
And tomorrow might unfortunately be a busy day for emergency responders with an overnight dump of snow. Let's get back to Vic DePaulo with your long-range forecast.
Chris, taking a look at the map of North America here, we'd just like to point out, as you can see, a lot of the cooling of central Canada as well as northern Ontario. But when it comes to right here, the southeastern of Ontario, we can see we're in store for more seasonal temperatures. Now, if we move over to the east coast, you can see that double digits, 11 degrees in the middle of December. Who would have ever thought? Now, when it comes to watches and warnings, we're expecting some snow squalls northwest and northeast of the GTA, and that's going to last all the way through to about Tuesday morning. Now, when it comes to tonight, well, it's going to be chilly. We're expecting flurries to fall anywhere between 3 to 8 centimeters of snow, and it's going to be -3, feeling like -11. So if you are outdoors, you want to make sure you're bundled up, you're going to stay warm, and you're definitely going to make sure you're going to plan a little bit ahead for all that snow that might fall. Now, how much snow is going to fall? It's a great question. As you can see, a lot of that heavy snow is going to be northeast, northwest of the GTA. But for Toronto itself, we're expecting anywhere between 3 to 8 centimeters to fall, all said and done by the time it's going to be midday on Tuesdays. You can see here on the map, things are going to start to clear up. And as things clear up, it brings us to our regular scheduled sun and cloud for the GTA. And that sun and cloud is going to last us for the next 6 to 5 days. As you know, with the weather, anything can change. But for the foreseeable forecast, it's going to be a mix of sun and cloud for the foreseeable future. Not that much snow, not that much rain really expected between now and Monday. Now, looking at our 3 and 7 day forecast, we can see when we get through the bit of precipitation on Tuesday, it's going to be above seasonal. Remember those two numbers we were looking at earlier when it comes to your average temperatures. High of 3 degrees, high of 0 on Thursday. And for your Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, you can see consistently above seasonal temperatures. And it does get warmer the closer we get to Monday. Now, I know a lot of people are big fans of white Christmases this time of year, and we're going to get ourselves a bit of snow when it comes to tonight and tomorrow morning. But one thing we can also see is there's going to be a consistent amount of sun and cloud and warmer temperatures that are above seasonal. Hope you have yourselves a great night and stay warm for tonight and tomorrow morning. And over to you, Chris.
All right. Thank you, Victor. Have a great night. The kitchens at Humber College are cooking up some good tidings this week. Today and tomorrow, the culinary arts faculty is cooking thousands of nutritious meals to be handed out to those in need.
This is the festive season. Food and festivity, they go hand in hand. So Humber is trying to do their own part in feeding people.
It's really fulfilling for me.
The school received about $130,000 worth of donated food, and dozens of students have volunteered to help out for the cause and extra learning. By tomorrow, 3,000 meals will be loaded onto delivery trucks destined for tables at women's, homeless, and youth shelters across the city. Finally, tonight, last August, we told you about a Canadian candy company looking for a chief candy officer, and the job was expected to pay $100,000 a year, with the successful candidate tasting candy all the time. Well, they still have not filled that position, and the company is now exploring a new avenue to help in their search. Take a look.
How they always say dress for the job you want, not the job you have.
There's been a bit of a buzz on social media, specifically surrounding Candy Funhouse, because you are looking to fill a position.
That's correct, the Chief Candy Officer.
What?
Basically, we're looking to bring someone in who's going to get paid $100,000 for the year to basically try candy, lead our candyologist team, be part of our board meetings, and really be one of the faces of the brand.
Welcome. It has taken a little bit of time though. So we came here in August of last year and the process seems to have taken a bit of a turn. What has happened?
Yeah, so that's a totally fair question. We ended up getting over 200,000 applications. And with that, if you think about it, it's about 750 plus resumes a day. We'd have to check 5 days a week for an entire year to get through it. We weren't staffed for that, we weren't expecting it, but it was one of those pleasant surprises.
This is actually my office.
I mean, you're talking about candy, you're talking about why they love it, and you know, we're asking them, what are they going to bring to the table?
How old are you?
I'm 12.
So as we were going through the process, we got a lot of questions. How's the selection going? When are you going to find the next chief candy officer? And we realized that it would have been great to find an opportunity to actually showcase the process and bring it to life.
Could you show us a cool trick?
That's when we decided to reach out to a company called Fly on the Wall Entertainment. They focus and specialize in all things reality television, and thought it'd be great to actually make a show out of this to choose our chief candy officer. We truly appreciate the 200,000 applications of candy enthusiasts from the US and Canada, and our goal is to select from those 200,000 people to be on the show.
Look like clouds and have it literally raining candy.
Still a lot of people to go through, but I think going through that list and finding out the ones that would be interesting to watch on television, and also ideally one of the candidates for the chief candy officer, and will make for great TV.
I can't believe they weren't expecting that kind of interest. And that is our show for you tonight. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you back here tomorrow night at 11. Have a great night.